Okay, along with many of my studies, my dabblings, my expertises, one of them is apologetics. Now, I'm an apologist for the ancient Latin Rite Orthodox Church. Um, you'd know that as Catholic, right? These guys, right? Actually, um, and I got this pamphlet today. What a cutie. She was a real nice lady. I said, hey, how's it going? And essentially it says 100, which it's Spanish and I'm reading it backwards, 100 truths about the theme of the Sabbath. Okay, I know exactly who these guys are from. This would be the Seventh-day Adventists. And essentially it says, what is the day of rest? Who instituted it? When was it instituted and for whom? What is its objective? And what day did Jesus regard? What day did Jesus actually maintain as the Sabbath? That question especially, all right? What day did Jesus maintain as Sabbath? That's the one I'm going to answer, because when I answer that, the rest of this falls apart. And then what does the Bible say about this? All right, so they're going to use the Bible, so I'll use the Bible, even though I have tradition and the deposit of faith. Which is tradition, capital T, that was passed down, as St. Paul says, by our words or our letters. Remember, these were not in the Bible yet. They were later found to be God-breathed, inspired, okay, and then they were included in what we call the New Testament. But until that time, we used the Septuagint, which were the Old Testament writings. But it doesn't matter. And it's funny, the one scripture that I'm going to use in Luke 6, or Luke chapter 6, they don't mention in here. Interesting. Look, I don't mind if you have an opinion. You should, please. I don't even mind if you're zealous, you're guarding it, you're protecting it with your very soul. Boom. I totally get it. However, if you want to win an argument, or you're trying to establish an argument, you must be very prepared for your opponent. All right? And so what you want to do is you want to scour the scriptures for anything that might make your argument look weak, if not completely ridiculous. So I'm going to quote from the Douay-Rheims Bible and John 6. And it came to pass, this is from the very beginning of the book, and it came to pass on the first Sabbath, that as he went through the cornfields, his disciples plucked the ears and did eat, rubbing them in their hands. And some of the Pharisees said to them, why do you do that which is not lawful on the Sabbath days? And Jesus answering them said, have you not read so much as this, what David did when he was hungry, and that they were with him, how he went into the house of God and took and ate the bread of proposition and gave to them that were with him, which is not lawful to eat, but only for the priests? And he said to them, the Son of Man is Lord also of the Sabbath. And then it came to pass on another Sabbath that he entered into the synagogue and taught. And there was a man whose right hand was withered. And the scribes and Pharisees watched if he would heal on the Sabbath, and they might find an accusation against him. But he knew their thoughts, and he said to the man who had the withered hand, arise, and stand forth in the midst. And rising, he stood forth. Then Jesus said to them, I ask you, if it be lawful on the Sabbath days to do good or to do evil, to save life or to destroy? And looking around about on them all, he said to the man, stretch forth thy hand. And he stretched it forth, and his hand was restored. And of course, they were filled with madness, and they talked with one another what they might do to Jesus. So here we have the entire beginning of Luke 6, which essentially says Jesus himself is the Lord of the Sabbath. That's one of the few times he actually inkles toward on God. And since he established his church in the year of himself, Anno Domini, in the year of the Lord, in the year of himself, 33 in the upper room at Pentecost, he establishes the church, and he gives her power over what he has power over, heaven. So the church is kind of an archetype. And the church has the ability to, as the Lord of the Sabbath, to mention certain days are holy, certain days may not be holy, in the sense that you should go to Mass, and what the Sabbath falls on, all right? So essentially the Christians are eighth day. So their Sabbath falls on the old Jewish first day, which would have been Sunday. They used to number them, day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then Sabbath. Sábado in Spanish. However, the English named their Saturday after the Titan named Kronos. Happens to be time. Kind of interesting. Eventually they named the planet Saturn after him and everything else. But anyway, here's how it goes. Jesus essentially says, look, when you got to do what you got to do, you got to do what you got to do, okay? What, you don't do anything on the Sabbath? You just sit around? I mean, what if somebody's starving? What if somebody needs food? All right? And he did this on the Sabbath, so he broke the Sabbath. In fact, Commandment 3 says, I've made this day for you, and I would like you to rest, okay? This is not a day for God. This is a day for you. I want you to have one out of every 7 days toil-free. That is, working, being remunerated, if you can. Now, there's also, with love in your heart, if you're serving on the Sabbath day, because you know people maybe need tortillas. Maybe they can't buy food to save over that second day. And they may need to come to your store to buy their daily bread, okay? Even the priest works on the Sabbath, doesn't he? Of course he does. So, and does it really matter which day it is? Actually, no. Though the church says that it's Sunday, the ancient Jews said that it was Saturday, that we get a day is a day. And the only anecdote I can say after this is I remember, again, it seems only Protestants get so freaked out about this, and Seventh-day Adventists and these other restorationist folks. They get way too literal, and here's why it's not important. 20 years ago now, I had mentioned to somebody, the time change is coming up, and I think this was in February. I said, but this year the time change that comes up on my birthday, I'm going to get an extra hour on my birthday. All right, so when my birthday falls on October 26th, back in the U.S., back then, that was the last Sunday of the month, and sometimes my birthday was 25 hours. Well, the guy I told misinterpreted and thought the upcoming time change, which actually, if that were true, would only give me a 23-hour birthday, because spring forward, so you lose an hour, right? Well, they had this big surprise party for me on the Monday after the time change. And I'm like, what the? Whoa, thanks, guys. My birthday's October. And they all looked at him, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, but it doesn't matter. You know what? Let's just have a birthday celebration today. You guys worked your butts off. Thank you. I'm completely gracious. I love you all. I appreciate it. Let's enjoy the party. And come October 26th, don't do anything. No, because I worked in El Paso, and the Hispanics there had a tradition of tacking dollars onto you. So the first one would tack the dollar, and then and some people tacked 5, some people tacked 10s. So I was just blanketed in dollar bills for that day. So what does it matter in a day? A day is an arbitrary man-made device based on the old days Jewish, and now the Catholic, thanks to Gregory, the solar calendar, which really isn't the best calendar in the world still, but 300 years ago, it was the best we had. So if you're going to freak out and you're going to judge people on man-made days and all this other garbage, I think you might want to reconsider which religion you're in. If you even want a religion. And you know what? I can't blame the secularists. There is so much tribal nonsense, okay? I could tell more stories about my times in Texas and meeting up with some of my Muslim brothers and sisters. You know what? We hugged each other. We had a great time. And I'll tell you what, I have a love for humanity, and they now have a total love for their brothers and sisters, regardless of the deity they pray to. But when you get to a certain point, when you get to a certain maturity level, you start to just love people, and you just want the best for them. And if they don't want the best, even in your perception, for themselves, you let them go, right? What is the old expression? If you love something, let it go. And if it doesn't come back, it was never yours to love in the first place. Something like that. So it kind of gets rid of your I problem, right? Your I problem. That's the biggest problem we have in the world today. I. Spanish, yo. French, je. Once you conquer that, life is good. All right, guys. Anyway, so nice try, guys. I appreciate the pamphlet. I had a lovely chat with the lady. She was in a wheelchair. We just had a wonderful talk. And I just said, wow, tell me about your story. So, hey, she's happy. I'm happy. Talk soon, guys. Bye.